My name is Andra from the Romanian Diaspora. I've been in the UK since 2003, and I've lived in Birmingham for 4 years, for the past 4 years. I joined this project because I really like the idea of drawing a parallel between migratory birds and the lives of people who have settled in a country other than the country of their birth. I think especially the return journeys, there are a lot of similarities there. When we go back to visit our family and friends, and when migratory birds go back for the summer or for the season. So it was very interesting and very, very personal, and I felt I had the opportunity to say something about myself and about my experiences in both countries, and share it with the wider public.
And hi, I am Serena. I left Romania in September '98, and I live most of my life now, my adult life, outside of my country. When I heard about the project, I was intrigued by the concept, specifically because of the fact that if there is something that is a constant in a migrant's life, it's when are you going back home? The question. And that's something that made me think of people wanting to return, other people wanting to not return, and carry on exploring, and the discrepancy between that and birds and their migration path. But equally, the fact that the things that most foreigners that I know have ever noticed about Romania was the abundance of birds still nesting that have disappeared from the west of Europe, such as, in our case, the storks, but not only. And that just speaks volumes about civilization and human touches as opposed to birds. So again, another discrepancy.
In terms of co-creating the work with Juno and with the other colleagues from DOR on this project, my first instinct, well, there were two instant reactions when I found out about the project. The first, yes, and the second one was one box, because I really, really struggled to conceive only creating one thing to represent the richness of Romania's cultural experiences. And actually, we went through a couple of iterations, and the first one was a multifaceted box where each side was going to represent a different area of the country. And in the end, Juno kindly offered us the opportunity to have different boxes. So we each took a region that was important to us and started designing that, hence the multiple boxes and the bridges. For me, I mean, for my colleagues as well, but for me personally, it was very, very important to try and bring as much as possible of the mix, and to showcase that, even if that doesn't necessarily match what people's expectation of image of Romania is. I come from the west part of the country, from a border city. We've been a border city for hundreds of years. So you walk down the street and you have the old Turkish baths, which have been repurposed into the council house. And you have an old Catholic nunnery, which is now a high school. The revolution actually started outside the local Hungarian church. So you can never really get away from this incredibly complex pattern. And it's almost like a woven sort of 3D experience, where there's always something new, there's always something slightly different, but also quite familiar. And I've tried to bring a lot of that through, especially in the belt that goes around the Transylvania house. I've tried to use patterns from, for example, there's one from the local synagogue. There's one from a Hungarian village on the east side of Transylvania, which has very unique pottery. I've tried to bring in patterns from traditional costumes from most minorities that are present in Transylvania. So hopefully that will come through, and it may look like a beautiful chaos, but hopefully will be interesting and thought-provoking.
When I heard what was expected in the project, I thought, there's no way I can do that. I don't know how to draw. I haven't done decoupage since I was 5. I'm not good with my hands in that respect. I'm not artistic, etc. So for me, it was the inspiration and the encouragement that came from Juno to just try something new and see how things are going. And also observing my colleagues discovering or rediscovering hidden talents and seeing them get excited about something that looks nice that they have done, and that in itself I think is a fantastic achievement. As far as my region is concerned, it's important to remember the south of Romania has at least 2 very well known purposes. One is obviously the petrol and gas and the industrial side of things, and its position in the world wars, especially from a UK perspective, it's known for Operation Tidal Wave, especially for my city. But then there's also the feeding side. So it was known to be the granary of Europe, so the places where of abundance of everything in lashings and just never lacking. And I think that has changed throughout the years a lot. That image has been lost and it needs to be brought back. But equally, like Andra said, diversity-wise, maybe one of the reasons why people coming from Romania are not so fussed about the terms is because that's what Romania is all about, diversity and a patchwork of culture and ethnic and religious stories that intertwine and create on a daily basis, and that's just a continuous unraveling beautiful chaos, like Andra said.
In terms of the bird, I mean, it's a real shame that our colleague who came up with the idea for the bird couldn't be here for the interview. But for me, that was one of those amazing accidents that turns out to be just perfect, because I was struggling in my head to come up with a bird to represent Romania. Like many other countries, we have the eagle, especially on the stem. But then you have all of the different birds in the Danube Delta, which are probably better known abroad because they migrate to Romania. And then, sorry, I think it was Jason, wasn't it, who came up with, who remembered this image of a stork nest on top of every post, every tall contraption, especially in the rural areas. And we thought, for me, it was like an eureka moment. It's like, of course, the stork. What else could it have ever been? It is the stork, and it always has been the stork. And it's the migrating stork, the stork that comes and goes. It's the stork that brings good news. It's the stork, the agrarian symbol of fertility. It's the stork of good luck and good fortune. And it's that, even visually, it's that beautiful, simple black and white plumage that cannot be mistaken anywhere. So yeah, that was a chance discussion during one of the prep meetings with Juno, and it was, as I said, it was a beautiful accident that I'm very grateful for.
During our trip in Romania in 2013, that was the thing that Jason wouldn't shut up about, because we came back and he would tell every single person, and there were this big nest on top of every single telegraph pole, and on top of everywhere you look. They're not using their chimneys because there's a stork nest on top of them, and you just gotta be careful. It's the elegance of the bird as well as everything else that just makes it special, and it's the fact that it mates for life, and it is fiercely for the family. And I think that kind of ties into the issues that come out of migration, and the fact that most of us are actually torn between our family in the UK and our family back home.